his coronation day was exactly 6 months, 6 weeks, and 6 days after Lizzie's funeral. Okay? The Q, as they call her. 6 months, 6 weeks, 6 days, 666. That's the number of the beast. Now, I think Trinity shared that with me, and I think she did the calculations too here. As you see here, if you add up those months, you got 30, 31, 30, 31, 31, 28. That'd be February. Plus 42 is the 6 weeks, plus the 6 days, and that's 229er. Okay? Now, just to show you that, I'm going to break that down for you here. That's September 19th was her funeral. Okay? And then you go to Chuckster, and he was on May 6th. That's 229 days right there. Just like she calculated, it's calculated there too. And I'm going to show you this in the calendar because it's just kind of fun. I kind of like to look at it. I think maybe some of you like that too. But let's go here to where she died. She died here, just to be clear again, that was September 19th was the funeral, not the death. The death was on the 8th, so they say. And September 19th is the funeral, okay? So September 19th, I just want to show you this real quick, because it just doesn't get any more uncanny than this, guys. You know, somebody made the point to me that in Revelation 13, why are you calculating his name? It never says his name. You're right. It doesn't say his name. It just says calculate his number. And there's so many different things, not just his name, but so many different things that scream 666 surrounding this individual. So his name is only part of it, although a name is kind of a logical choice to look at, because how else are you going to calculate an individual, right? What are you going to base it on? His height, maybe? Is he 6'6"? I don't know how tall he is. But, let him that hath understanding count the number of the beast, for it's the number of man. His number is 666, right? So we're familiar with that. Or it could also be 616. I'm going to talk about that in a second. Somebody else brought that up. That's also a possibility. But let's deal with 666 because that's the most common one, okay? So this is not his name we're calculating. They were calculating from the death of his mother, and our funeral of his mother, to his coronation date, okay? Once again, she died on September 19th, okay? So if we start in September 19, then we go October 19, 1, November 2, December 3, right? December 19th would be 3. Then we go over here to January 19th is 4. February 19th would be 5 months. March 19th would be 6 months. So I'm doing it a different way just to show you you can do it this way as well. March 19th, 6 months. Then you go 6 weeks. So we're here March 19th. You see this here? Can you guys see that on the screen? Okay. And then we count 6 from there. So that's the 19th. So we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's the 30th of April, right? That's 6 weeks. And then we go 6 days. So we did 6 months, 6 weeks, and then 6 days starts on the 1st. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that is the day that he was coronated. You think that's coincidence, guys? I mean, come on. Doesn't it just exhaust you how many connections there are? They planned this stuff. But I don't think it just started with him, as we're going to see. We're going to see it connects to the Q as well. But there you have it. So there's, the 66 is everywhere. So there it is in the W, the E to the F. There's a 666 there. Of course, the famous Ild Ak Eder, putting a 6 instead of a B, same deal. And check this out. This is another one that was shared, and as you see, it says coronation of his King Boy Chuckster, and then you see the third, right? Because he's Charles the Third. But isn't it interesting the way they drew those three little lines there after Charles, the name Charles? Well, let me show you something with that. What if we turned it upside down and around? What would we see? Oh, look, it looks like 3 6s after his name. 666. But it doesn't stop there. So he's got these 3 lines after his name, right? Well, you may remember the Monster energy drink and how people pointed out that the 3 lines. Oh, wait. I got to take this off so you can see that. Woo-hoo, I'm glad I caught that. Or I would have gone on another hour and forgot about it. So these 3 lines on the Monster energy drink, right? People have pointed out that this looks a lot like a Tav, which is the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. So you have 666 for the Monster energy drink. Also, the O of Monster has a cross in it, so that when you turn the drink upside down while you're drinking it, it's an upside down cross. So there you have. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not Tav, it's Vav, I guess. Sorry, Vav. So Vav. That's the 6th letter of the Hebrew alphabet there. See it again. So they're doing the same thing after Chuckster's name. They have the 3 lines, right? The 3 Vav. So it's King Charles 666 would be his official title. King Charles 666, according to the Hebrew. Okay. Now here's his name, as we've looked at this before. But I just want to show you this because I'm gonna share a couple things that I did a few more calculations off of this, and so I want to explain how it's calculated. Basically, they took the Hebrew alphabet and the numbers that match up. So in Hebrew they use the alphabet for numbers as well in ancient Hebrew, and so they took those calculations, and that's how they got Prince Charles of Wales to equal 666 in both Hebrew and English, and also apparently in Greek. Now I did go ahead and do the I did go ahead and do the calculations in Hebrew and English myself. Like I took those numbers and I took those calculations and I made sure it was accurate. I haven't done the Greek yet, so that's your homework. You go do the Greek for me and you double check that the Greek works as well. But that's 3 languages, guys. 3 languages? Seriously? How would that work for anybody else? Would that work for anybody else that all 3 languages are going to be 666? When you calculate it out. Okay, let's talk about a couple other things. Then I started thinking about his name in other ways. So I put in his name, Charles. I'm like, well, what's his last name? Okay, so their last name is Mountbatten Windsor. Okay, Mountbatten is after the dad, and then Windsor is kind of after the lineage, right? So I thought it was interesting that it had 313 because that kind of tied in with how some people say 616. So I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. You double the 3s, and you could have 616, I suppose. Or 626, which that's kind of God's number in the middle, backwards and forwards. So you got a chiasmus either way. And what I found out was I started to calculate his name in different ways. I found a lot of chiasmuses. Okay, so I just want to share a couple of them with you. So King Charles, if you did King Charles in the same Hebrew numerology, it's 323. And I thought that was kind of interesting because 323, and I don't have this on the screen, so you just have to listen to what I'm sharing with you. But 323. I'm going to share a couple of them, but a couple of these I'm not. So 323 is King Charles, okay? But if you add the 3 from the end of his name, the 3 lines, right, the third, that would be 3 3s with a 2. Well, if you take 3 times 2, for all 3 of those 3s, you'd have 666. King Charles III, if you do that, King Charles with the 3 lines, which I guess is LLL. I guess I put LLL for the 3 lines. That came out to 150, but there might be another way to do that now that I think about it. So I'm like, well, it doesn't have to be, or maybe I did capital I. See, I'm not even sure now what letter I did. So that's some homework for you to do. King Charles III, do that with the Hebrew numbering. You can get it from the screen that I just shared with you. But I got 150, which I thought was kind of interesting. You got 50, 50, 50, like 3 Jubilee periods. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But it could calculate a different way if you were to do it. And maybe Chucky's. We should try Chucky out while we're at it. Haven't done that way yet. But it might calculate differently with those 3 lines if you calculate them differently with a different letter, like either instead of L or I, however you want to do it. Roman numeral, the Roman numeral. So then I added 323 plus 666 for the 3 lines, and I got 989. So a lot of chiasmuses, right? 323, 989. And then I did King Charles Philip Arthur George, because that's his full name, Charles Philip Arthur George, the 3rd, even though he's not really the 3rd Philip Arthur George, but I just put it on there anyway. I got 1409. 14 plus 9 is 23, and 23 is the year that he's been crowned. Now, this was cool. I did Charles Philip Arthur George because I just did his name, right? So not a title, anything else. Let me just do his name. Okay, and here's what I got. Let me just show you. So I did Charles Philip Arthur George. Okay. Now, if you remember, I showed you this before. You get 996, right? Which is almost kind of like 666 turned upside down. But when I did it in the Hebrew, what I got, and I'm going to show you this calculation. When I did it in the Hebrew, Charles Philip Arthur George, I got 1296. Okay, 1296. And so I put 1296 for Charles Philip Arthur George. And then with all of these, I would say, well, what if I divide by 6, right? So I divide by 6, and then I divide by 6, and then I divide by 6. 666. Or if you noticed, the first time I divided by 6, you got 216. Well, what's 216? 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. 216. That's Charles Philip Arthur George. Wow. I thought that was pretty amazing. It was actually in his regular name, not just in the king name or the prince name, but in his regular name, Charles Philip Arthur George. So I thought that was pretty amazing.